Hello everyone, my name is Carlie Hamilton and I'm here to do a scrapbook process video for you guys. This one is for my Japan album and it is my hotel room in Tokyo for when I landed. And I've pulled out a couple of different sheets of paper that I could use on this layout. And I'm just trying to decide right now what I want to do. And I decide, similar to another layout that I've done recently, I decide that I want to use that, I guess, bluey green colored paper as a background, as a thin bordered background. So I get out my trimmer and I gut the middle of that. That way I can use that paper on this layout, or I can use it on another layout. I like this paper, so I want to spread it out as much as possible. If I don't really particularly care for a piece of paper, which sometimes happens, a good way to use it up really quickly is to use it as a frame for your page. And if it's really, really ugly, then you can use it as a super thin frame. But other cases like this one, I actually like the paper, so I want to hold on to it as much as I possibly can, get most use out of it. So I've cut down this piece of paper just a little tiny bit so that I can stick it down there as the actual background, and so that it has a bit of that blue greeny paper showing through. Now I have 3 photos for this layout. 2 are shots of my hotel room, which I'm really glad I took actually, because it's interesting to see what laptop I had. I can barely even remember that laptop. And then there's one of me in the mirror, and like it's me holding the camera looking in the mirror back before selfie was even a word. And it's such a blurry, horrible shot, but it's a photo of me at that time, so I want to keep it. Now I have a bit of a mission at the moment to use up my frames. I've got heaps and heaps of frames. I love frames, but at the moment I do have an abundance of them, so I want to use them up. And I decide to use it on my selfie picture because it is a little bit different from the other photos, so I don't mind if I like cut that one square and then have the other 2 in their 4x6 sort of state. And so now that I have picked out a frame for that photo, it sort of starts to bring a bit of shape to my page on how my layout is going to go. I decide that I'm going to just do a really thin mat of this paper with these 2 photos. You can't even really tell what the paper is, even though it's like a ledger. But I feel like they just needed to sit on something really thin, and then that can sit on the page, and that way it'll sort of bring a bit of definition to them without having such a really thick border. I do feel like I need to give a bit more definition to this page, so another thing that I have been doing lately is outlining. So again, on this page I decide to outline all the elements, and I think that helps just bring a little bit more pop to my page. As you can see, I am using a Sharpie and I don't move from the wrist, but rather I move my whole arm down the page. And I know that some people like to do these, that photo there is, it has such a super thin mat that I know some people would be nervous to actually be outlining straight onto the background paper like that, like I was. But I don't know, sometimes I just feel like I'm better off to just go ahead and do it, and if I make a huge mess, then so be it, than to fuss around trying to find some other scrap paper that I can outline on top of. I also used the border strip for that page paper onto this page. I feel like I just needed something for my photos to sit on, like a bit of a grounding. So yeah, I put down that border strip, and I think that just adds something to the page. When sticking down this photo, I decide to stick it up the top there, and that way that space between the top photo and the bottom border strip, I'm going to use that as my journaling space. And again, I'm going to outline this border, what's it called, frame. I'm outlining the frame. It is just a paper frame from a Dear Lizzie collection. And I got it when I was getting really, really obsessed with frames. So I sort of bought every single frame that I could. Now this is my journal entry for the day. And in this journal, I had stuck down this sticker. It's a fabric sticker. And luckily I was able to pull it out of my journal without ruining either my journal or the sticker. It says JET program, and that basically was the reason why I was in Japan. I was over there to teach English as part of the JET program. And the JET program is just like a program designed to get native English speakers into the public schools in Japan. So I was, basically that's the program. I wasn't hired by JET. I was hired by like the local board of education, but through this program, and I was teaching English in public schools. So that sticker goes down in that little corner there, and I also outline it to make it similar to the rest of the page. And now that I have sort of my basic structure of how I'm going to have everything laid out on my page, I start to bring out all my embellishments to embellish the page. I have this sticker at the top left, and I think it's from an October afternoon travel range. I think it was called Travel Girl. And so I bring that out, and it's sort of perfectly, not quite perfectly, almost perfectly matches the green that's already in the page. So I quite like that. It looks like it's a banner that looks like a map. So really happy to have that on my page. And I also bring out a whole heap of buttons, paper clips, geotag, die cuts, and things like that to stick on my page. I have there that I'm trying to stick in, it's a paper clip, and it says awesome, and it's like the navy blue color of the JET program sticker. And I have like the most awful time trying to stick it through, because I'm trying to stick it through right where I stuck my adhesive. I didn't stick my adhesive everywhere, but I stuck it right there. And in the end, I just couldn't get it there. So I end up sticking it underneath my photo eventually. So yeah, I'm just playing around with all the embellishments that I did pull out. I actually pulled out also a piece of vellum from the Maggie Holmes Style Board collection. I bought that just before I moved house, and this is the first time I've used it, so really happy to use it. And I use it as I stick a button on top of it, so it's sort of like framing my button. I quite like the way it ended up looking. So yeah, I do also outline that banner sticker that I was talking about before, and that helps, I guess, define it again, keeping it in line with the rest of my page. I stick down a couple of other little die cut tabs and things that I have pulled out for the page. For my title, I end up using some foam stickers that I got from a Freckled Fawn kit, and I agonized over them for quite a while because I have no idea what I'm going to title this page, and I really, really suck at titles. And I think this one gets bonus points for being extra, extra lame. I just couldn't come up with anything, so I ended up titling it as it was. It's a hotel room. I titled it Hotel Room. For my journaling, I just use my Sharpie to freehand some lines down the page, and then I just use a normal biro pen to, like a ballpoint pen, to write on my page. I talk about I used my journal. I'm using my journal from the time to sort of like keep as a reference. So I copied some things out of it, and I talk about how it was raining when we arrived. When I arrived in Tokyo, I went out and did a bit of exploring, and I also got a headache from a lack of sleep. But then we could check in to our hotel room after 2 p.m. So as you remember, or you might not, I have a previous layout where I about exploring, about arriving in Japan, and I arrived in Tokyo about 9:15, I think, and we didn't get to check in till 2 o'clock, so I had to go out exploring, and ordinarily that'd be fabulous, but I was super tired and I just couldn't have loved anything more than to have gone into my room and had a little mini nap or something, but we couldn't check in till 2 p.m. And I also talk about how my memory card got corrupt in Tokyo, so I lost a lot of photos that I did take in Tokyo. Now I'm going through a couple of last little touches to sort of complete the page, and I pull out some like wood grain looking chipboard stickers, but it just wasn't really meshing well with the page at all. I'd also stuck down some little epoxy heart stickers, but in the end I decided to use some sequins, and I think just a couple of sequins thrown randomly around the page sort of just adds that little bit more oomph to the page to make it just a little bit more exciting. And I just used my glue to stick them down, and so far anyway, it's just Tombow glue. So far I haven't had any trouble with sequins really flying off my page, so I'm happy with that. And once the sequins are on there, I call this page done. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a close-up of my page, and also I'll have some photos at the very end. I hope you have enjoyed this process video and maybe gotten some ideas from it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Yeah, so thank you so much everyone for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!